right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Keto Rocks. I'm Jim Hobbs, and to my left or to my right or down below, however he's showing up on your screen, is Brian Forsythe of Kix. How's it going, Brian? Yeah, good. That you haven't already posted about.
Yeah, I haven't. I never get on these Wednesdays. I never get to my food pictures before it's time to do the podcast. But I had my dinner, and then I was in the process of making a video I started last night about making ice cream. So I had to finish that. So I had this big bowl of ice cream on top of it. So I'm like stuffed right now.
That's good. Well, that's a good feeling. I'm definitely looking into that. I know you got Emily on that ice cream kick. I saw her post a picture of the ice cream.
Yeah.
So, hey, before we introduce our special guest and let him tell his story, I wanted to ask one more question, or not a question, I wanted to discuss with you, Brian, before we bring Gary on. What did you think about that article that Dr. Ken Berry posted? That was an article back in, I forget what it was written, like in 1800s or 1900s. It was a long time ago in regards to.
Yeah, 1825.
Yeah, was that amazing?
Yeah, I actually just skimmed through it. I have to go back and like really read it. I didn't really read it. I just kind of, glossed over it. But
well, the Reader's Digest version was that they realized back then that eating vegetables and eating sugar would cause you to have fat, and that it was better to eat meat than it was, and to get rid of the starches and the sugar. It caused problems, and it caused you to gain weight. And they realized at that point sugar was not a thing, or the starches were a good thing for your body, for our bodies.
Yeah, I got that much out of it. Yeah. That's before big food took over,
Right. Well, he posted I think he posted, I don't know if he posted that one, the general one, or just to the Patreons, but he posted the other one about Coca-Cola, who paid off those scientists for that study.
Yeah, I saw something about that on Twitter.
Yeah, that's just absolutely crazy. It just shows you how wide the net is and how many people are involved in this greed, which means the bottom line is they're rather make a buck and have you die than to make 10 cents and have you live longer and healthier. So that's what I got out of it. So, well, we are excited about the next guest. Gary comes to us from Stafford, Virginia. He is a friend of mine, and I'll set this up a little bit. Gary and his wife are teachers, so they actually are starting school on Monday. So I'll be praying for both of you, because I don't know how the rest of the country is, but in our part of the woods, it's been up and down, and they just had a school meeting last week and changed everything. Now everything's virtual. Everything you're going to be teaching virtually. Is that correct, Gary?
Well, we're going to roll with whatever's out there, but yeah, we're going to be teaching virtually, and we won't be starting with kids until the 31st. So we'll have some time to get our act together, but we're juggling a lot of things right now. There are a lot of things up in the air, and so we'll get some questions answered soon.
Yeah, it's like the guy, I was doing a business transaction with a guy up in New Jersey today, and he actually wrote to me on an email. We're going back and forth. He says, "Man, I know we're building this plane as we fly it," and I was like, "Wow, that's a pretty good analogy as what's going on with how schools are being run around the country at this moment. It's like we know we're flying the plane as we build it. So it's we can't stop building it, but we can't stop flying it either." So.
Well, we have some pretty good builders, and I don't have to do it all alone, so I'm not stressing that much.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate what you and Pam do, and all the other teachers that are out there in that same position that you guys are in, because it's not an easy position, being prepared for a school season that you don't know whether or not you're meeting the students face to face, how you're going to do the virtual teaching. So my hats and respects off for all the teachers across the country right now and what they're going to have to deal with.
I'm not a big fan of virtual, but you know, but we'll go with it because it's best for the kids right now. It's best for everyone right now. So, but I will miss seeing them every day. They're fun.
Well, that's a missing component, and in my opinion, that's part of the growing up process, and just part of the overall development process. So I definitely think not only are you going to miss it, but I think the students will miss out on an opportunity to get to know their teacher from a personal level.
Yes, I think you're right.
So anyway, well, we got Gary here with us. Gary, I know we play croquet about every other week or every week for the last 6 years or whatever, but tell the audience a little bit about your history. You know, if you had because I don't even know the answers to this question. How's your health been your whole life, and do you go get a physical every year? And have you ever had any major ailments or hiccups in your life?
Well, before I do that, you brought up croquet, and I would like to fill everybody in because they probably don't know about your croquet game. They probably don't know anything about it. And Jim started playing croquet, about 3 years ago with us? About
Somewhere
3.
around there. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But he's coming on strong, I'm not gonna toot my own horn or anything like that. But
Go ahead, champion. You want it all.
Well, the people who play in this league aren't too shabby, and I know that 2 out of the last 3 times that we played, Jim won a game, and so he's coming along. He's strong. He's coming.
Yeah. Every now and then a blind squirrel finds a nut. So that's all that is.
Yeah. In 2012, Jim, I had a heart attack. I had a circumflex artery that was 98% blocked. I had to have a stent. It was probably because of my diet and lifestyle, things like that. And it was the same year that my son graduated from high school. And this was right before the end of the school year. So I watched graduation for the first time from the stands instead of down on the field. But I still got to see him graduate. My doctors were wonderful. They took good care of me. I bounced back really quick. Felt healthier than I had in a long time. But, my diet still, it just wasn't good. I looked for this, I looked for that, tried a few different things. But to make a long story short, over that period of time, over the past 8 years, my weight just kept creeping up and up and up and up. And my doctor told me that you need to lose some weight. You need to do these things, and you need to eat right. And he said, he told me that the last time I saw him was last summer. I'm due to see him pretty soon again now. But he told me that you need to eat like a starving man from the third world. That's how bad you need to lose weight. So, I was throwing back this and that, and playing croquet gave me an opportunity to hear about you and what you and your wonderful, beautiful, lovely wife have done with keto. And so that was rolling around in my mind. And one day in February, I woke up and I said, today's the day. I'm going with this. I'm not going to eat 5, 6, 7 snacks during the day and graze on grains and candy and sugar and potato chips and crackers and white bread, and because all of those things, that's what I lived on. I love potatoes too. So I think you get the idea. A lot of starch, a lot of sugar, all of those things. And so that day I really didn't eat. I waited till I got home. So I guess you could call it a fasting day to start out with. Got home and I looked up keto on the internet. And now, preface this with, you're my inspiration for this, Jim. So I appreciate it. I thank you for that and for what information that you've given me on it. But I looked up a few things, and this and that confused me a little bit. I understood the chemistry of it. I'm a scientist, but as far as getting into a healthy diet, I found a site that was keto for beginners. And so I was a beginner, and that's where I started. Started with some simple meals, a lot of veggies, a lot of whole foods. Got rid of all the crackers in my house. I love crackers and cheese. So I got rid of that first. Threw away the chips and the dip, and no more white bread. And I learned about almond flour. So, I was excited to get started. And so I started trying a few recipes, and, found out it really wasn't that hard for me, because my cravings were reduced probably within the first couple days for sugar. And I started to feel better, and I started losing weight, and I lost weight pretty quick. For the first 2 weeks, I was 238 pounds. Today I'm 198.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, yeah. So I've kept at it, and I do have a little cheat once in a while. My wife loves soft ice cream. So maybe about a month ago, we were down in Lexington, and we had a nice day, but all the way home, we passed this ice cream shop, and we stopped and we got some ice cream. And, so once in a while we'll do something like that, but most of the time I pretty well stick to it. I don't feel like I'm denying myself anything by eating right. The food that I eat's good. It's filling. And finding a good snack now and then, though. We bake some cookies, and we do some things like that. So the more that I learn, the more fun it is too. So the other thing is this, that we all have different schedules in my house. My son lives with us. He has a different schedule. My wife's in elementary school. She's on a little different schedule than me. And so we all ate separately. But since I started doing this, we make meals together. I do most of the cooking, actually. But we sit down and we have meals together. And boy, do I enjoy that. That's really nice.
Well, one of the things that Gary's really, really good at, he is an awesome cook. He smokes some of the best tasting ribs I've had through over the years. So you already had that down. And now the great thing was a couple of weeks ago, Gary made some ribs for one of our get-togethers. And he goes, hey, I just want you to know the sauce is keto friendly. So he's actually learning how to make keto friendly sauces. And so
I'm experimenting with that a little bit. You just gotta be a label reader. You gotta search for your ingredients high and low and wherever you can find them, and look for what other people have done too. So it's kind of, but I gotta tell you, my sauce was an original. It wasn't what anybody else made. I made it my own. So I hope you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. Those ribs were absolutely great, and they were delicious as always. Did not know that you had a heart attack, so did not know you had that, but because that was before I actually got a chance to meet you. But you actually are looking great these days. I mean, you can definitely see those 30 pounds that you've lost have made a huge difference. I don't know how you're feeling compared to where you were when you started, but my guess is you're feeling pretty good.
Well, I one of the things too, when I had, my weight kept creeping up, and about the next size pants, and the stretch waist, and all of those things, and so now I'm fitted into clothes that I haven't fit in for 10 years. So that's a good thing too. It's a good thing I kept a few things too. Just a few of the nicer things. So I can get back into those. I have a couple suits that I wasn't able to wear, nice Italian suits, finely tailored, and I can wear them again now. So that's great.
Well, do you have any occasions coming up that's going to require you to wear a suit?
My son's getting married, in September the 20th. That's why my wife and we were in Lexington doing kind of a reconnaissance trip down there, because that's where the wedding's going to be. And what a beautiful area. And so, yeah, I'll be sporting my Italian suit and having a great time that day.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are going to have to watch. Brian, why don't you kind of share with everybody, since he get a great opening in regards to them having ice cream. Why don't you kind of share an alternative that's keto friendly with how you're making your, I know you got a video coming out today or soon or tomorrow, whenever you finish it up, but why don't you tell people about the alternative?
Yeah, well, I started messing around with ice cream about, maybe close to a month ago. And I was trying to make a video of, of me making the ice cream, and I messed it up the first 2 times. So this third time it worked, and I finally got the video of it, and the video of it actually working and coming out right. And I think the first post, I did post a picture of it, and I labeled it carnivore ice cream, but it actually isn't, because I used a little bit of that monk fruit sweetener and a little bit of that swerve, which is what is that stuff? Like a combination of those 2 sweeteners in there. So it is sugar free, but it's not carnivore, and it's got vanilla and stuff like that in there that's plant based. But man, this last one I just did today, it came out. It's coffee flavored. I put espresso. I ground up some espresso beans, and I soaked them in water with cocoa overnight, and then I made the base like a custard base, and then today I blended all that together and put a heavy cream in with it, and then churned it, and man, and it's not overly sweet either, because I didn't use a lot of the sweetener, but it's like got this subtle sweetness and this rich like coffee, kind of this balance between a coffee and a chocolate, and I just couldn't believe how good it turned out. And I'm almost like worried that it was too good, because when stuff's too good, it always seems like there's something else. Like
did I mess it up? Did I put something that I shouldn't put in it, or am I never going to really duplicate this process again?
No, it's more like it's in my freezer now, and I know it's there, and it's talking to me.
That's sweet. That little bit of sweetness that still got you, huh? It's like, come and eat me, come and eat me.
Well, not only the sweetness, the whole like the consistency was perfect. Just everything about it. The coffee. I love coffee ice cream, but yeah. So that was an experience. And you're talking about the sauce you made. I mean, that's the best way to do it, is just make your own. And I mean, I found, like, with this ice cream, when I used to live out in LA for like 26 years, and there was a kind of a family run like an ice cream brand called McConnelly's out there, and they had this Turkish coffee flavor, and I thought that was the best ice cream I've ever had in my life. And I thought I'd never, I moved back here, and you can't get it here, and I'm not eating that anymore anyway. So I was just thinking, I'll never taste that again. But this stuff that I made, it's as good, if not better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite an endorsement for your ice cream.
Oh, it came out amazingly well. Well, I did, you know me, when I make something, I don't measure. I did measure the sweetener though. So at least I know how much of that I put in there, but everything else I just sort of poured in there.
So it was eggs. So wait, you made custard. So you had eggs, and then you had vanilla, and
it was six egg yolks.
Okay.
6 egg yolks. The sweetener. See, what did I do to begin with? Yeah, it was 6 egg yolks and the sweetener I blended together. Then I heated up like a cup of the cream, and then I blended that with the egg yolks, and that was the base. It made like this custard, and I let that sit in the refrigerator overnight. And then I also blended the coffee grounds with some water and the chocolate, the cocoa, and I let that sit in the refrigerator in a separate container. And then today I mixed those two together and then poured in like 2 more cups of heavy cream and the vanilla.
Yeah, you put it in your big KitchenAid mixing bowl.
Yeah.
The mixing bowl was frozen. You had it in the freezer, pull it out, put everything in, or
yeah. And this time the regular KitchenAid bowl, that's what I mixed it all in that. So it was in a nice big open bowl, and that's what I poured it. I started the churning thing and let it run while I poured it in. So it didn't freeze up this time, but the last time when I was trying to pour it in, I had it in a jar, and I was trying to get it out of the jar into that. There's only like this much room between the edge of the bowl and, to pour stuff in. So I couldn't get it out of the jar into the thing. So this way, this big wide bowl that I poured it out of worked a lot better. But,
Awesome. So there you go, Gary. We'll have to make ice cream on Saturday.
We know that sauce that I made. You talk about Swerve. That's the sweetener that I use in that sauce. But I use that. Swerve also they make a brown sugar Swerve.
Yeah, I have some of that too.
Yeah, and so that and tomato paste. That's the beginning of my base for it. And you can spice however you want past that and make a good barbecue sauce.
Yeah, that's my next step. I got to learn how to do so I can make my ribs official. So I have a question for you though, Gary. What does your doctor think about your diet?
Well, I only visit my doctor once a year now. As far as my heart condition, my EKG and all of that stuff, it's completely normal. There wasn't a lot of damage to me when I had a heart attack. I was really fortunate with it. It was an article where, an artery where the blood flow around it can compensate. And anyway, they put a stent in and I was pretty good past that. And I stayed a little active, but, worried about that diet thing and a recurrence of things like that.
Yeah.
But what is it exactly that you would like to know?
Well, I was just wondering, have you been back to the doctor since you started on the keto thing?
No, I'll be visiting him soon though, and
Okay.
I think he'll be pretty happy with me.
Hopefully, because you'd be surprised what happens sometimes. I had to let go of a doctor at one point, and this was several years ago because I started keto probably close to 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember going back. That initial weight loss, like I wasn't way overweight or anything, but I still wanted to lose the last 10 pounds or so. And I went for, I'm trying to remember the timeline. I think I went and saw the doctor for the initial visit. And then she wanted me to come back in 3 months to follow up on some blood work. And in that time period, I had lost another 5 pounds, and it freaked her out because she didn't understand how I could lose that much weight because I didn't have that much to lose anyway. And when I told her what I was doing, she was like, "Oh, no. It's like, she was completely like, no, that's not right. And I think I've told Jim about this, but she tried to prescribe Ensure. She wanted me to drink that Ensure drink to put that weight back on. And I thought at first, when I first found her as a doctor, I thought she was a really good doctor until that, and that was the final straw. Oh, besides that, my blood work, she wanted to put me on a statin also. And I, that's what caused me to go into all this research on cholesterol. And in that 3 months, between the first visit and the second visit, I learned all about cholesterol. So when she told me that, I said, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. I'm not doing that. And then she tried to prescribe the Ensure. So it was first the statin and then Ensure. And I thought, I got to find a new doctor. But anyway.
Well, that will be interesting talking with him about things, because I've been on a statin, and my cholesterol shows good, but I'm on a statin, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm still going to need that. I'll have some blood work done before I go in. That's coming right up real soon.
Sometimes they say if you've had a heart attack, that's the one time a statin might be good. But for me, I'm completely, totally healthy, and she wanted to put me on a statin, and it's like crazy. It's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe she grew up with the food pyramid, and she thought that you needed everything every day, and this is what works. But I'm pretty well convinced that sugar's not a good thing. It's just, especially processed sugar, is not a good thing to put into your body.
Yeah.
And so if you can, but the foods that I eat, I'm sure they have enough carbohydrates in it to justify, that's enough carbohydrates in your diet anyway, because everything has something in it. Even if they say 0 carbs, there are things that everything's built of that are carbohydrates. So, but it's just those carbs that we call sugar, glucose and fructose and lactose and
All the O's.
like that that's what most people count as sugar, but
Yeah, the ones that spike your insulin.
sure. Yep. But carbohydrates are building blocks of a lot of different things.
I'm doing the carnivore diet, so I'm like close to 0 carbs.
Are you
Yeah, I don't eat any fruit, no vegetables. So
about that? Well, I do eat vegetables. But I watch the ones I eat. I eat celery, I like, and I eat a lot of bell peppers and cauliflower once in a while, broccoli, and that's pretty much, those are my mainstays.
yeah, well, I got to carnivore through keto, so I used to eat a lot of vegetables too. I used to love avocados. That's one thing.
Ooh,
That's one thing I kind of miss.
I still love avocados.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, you said something I think that we all go through. Like, I know I can speak for myself, and I think Brian has probably shared this, or at least shared it with me. Cookies, crackers, cheese, peanut butter. Go in the kitchen, grab yourself a box of crackers or Ritz, and then think a jar of peanut butter or cheese, and sit down and just, it just brings comfort to you. But and the mindset when you try to, or think you're going to start, so today's the day I'm going to go keto, and you think that you can't have that anymore, it starts to go, well, maybe I really don't want to do this keto thing, but the reality of it is, and you said something that's very important, that it's fun to go out and search, what you can replace that stuff with. And the other thing which you said, which is what people will experience when you do make the switch to go to a keto lifestyle, it doesn't take very long. Once you truly have eliminated the sugar out of your diet, it doesn't take very long for you to, all of a sudden, the cravings decrease dramatically. Like in that first week, like you no longer have to eat, like you said, 5 to 7 times a day, snack your way through the day. That kind of goes away. You're not hungry. You just don't, you don't need to eat. You're not going, okay, well, I can't wait to 2 more hours from now so I can, have another snack, and just snack your way through the day. The reality of it is you have energy, you feel clear-headed, and you're like, you almost have to force yourself to eat. Like, man, I gotta go eat. It's time for me to go eat, because one of the other things, and you did it from the beginning, Gary, one of the other things that we incorporate, when I say we, I know Brian does it too, but Peggy and I do, is intermittent fasting, where we're eating in a small window and giving ourselves 16 to 18 hours or 24 hours. And it really goes on my body. It's depending on how I'm feeling, how many hours I'm going to go between meals. But most of the time I'll go at least 16. Sometimes it turns into 24 or 48 hours, and I'll go with whatever my body's telling me to go with. and also the reverse way. Like today, it actually was craving. My body, for whatever reason, was craving a Caesar salad.
Huh.
And so I got a Caesar salad without the croutons, and I got it with steak. So I had a grilled steak and Caesar salad, no croutons. And I was going to pan sear some scallops and bacon to go on top of the Caesar salad, but Caesar salad looked so good, and I ate the Caesar salad, and I was totally filled. So I was full. So I was like, oh, well, then I'll just save the scallops for tomorrow. I don't need to force myself to go eat something where I'm feeling pretty stuffed and satisfied at the moment.
So, what you're saying, that the time in between meals, getting in a routine of things like, we've been isolated, we've been home, and so, it's easy to get up and go stuff something in your mouth. So what I do first thing in the morning, because I've been more active too, I find that I move better and I feel better the way my body moves. And I get up and, Jake, the dog.
Yep.
So I get up and Jake wants to go outside. So I go out with him. And I have this little woods behind my house, and I have a path through it. And so the first thing I do is go out and walk Jake. We call it his hunt. So I go out and he gets to snoop around and we have fun with that. And we're out there about 20 minutes or so. It's not a long time, but it gets me started in the day. And then I get busy with something. So instead of having a heavy breakfast, I might have maybe a hard-boiled egg, something like that, and then move on. And a lot of times I won't have any meal in the morning, and a lot of days I'll only have one, what you call a meal, and that's in the evening. And when Nicholas comes home and we can all sit down together, then that's when I eat. Might have a little snack with some celery or something like that, or maybe, some meat that I've cut up, some ham, or, some of that good smoked chicken that I make.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the way I snack now.
Yeah,
But
there's nothing wrong. And that's the thing. If you can eat your meat, your cheeses, and your smoked chicken and your smoked ribs, and have leftovers, that when you want something to carry you over, or something that's to satisfy your urge to consume something, is over the fridge, and you do that, and here's the great thing about doing that is you haven't cheated, you're satisfied, and it hasn't hurt you. You haven't spiked. You haven't put yourself in a position to get out of ketosis. Your body's still in ketosis, and you don't feel bad the next day, or you don't feel sluggish 3 hours later, and you don't feel hungry 3 hours later because you ate something that I put a Pop-Tart in your mouth, or had some nacho cheese, or Doritos, or something that's got sugar on it, and next thing you know, those cravings start to return again. And
they do right away. Like I was telling you about stopping and getting some ice cream and doing stuff like that, or just saying, well, that looks pretty good. I'll just eat one of those, because there have been a few times where I've said, well, I just want one of those little things that won't hurt me, but then you find, well, I want more of that.
Right.
I'm hungry for that.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. I know. Peggy and I've been on and off. We've been serious now for 3 years, I think. But I know before then, that was my mind rationale. It was saying, oh, it's just one maple sausage biscuit from Dunkin' Donuts. That's not going to hurt you. It's just one little teeny biscuit. You can have the bread, you can have the bread with this one. And then I was like, that tasted pretty good. That was pretty satisfying. Next thing I'm gonna get two this time, because if one did hurt me, two sure can't hurt me. That's the logic my mind uses. And next thing you know, two goes from this one. I'll just do it one time a week. That'll be my cheat day. And then it's two cheat days can't hurt me. And next thing you know, I'm cheating every day. And the worst part of it is I'm feeling worse each day that I cheat, and I start to gain weight. But here's the bad part about that slippery slope. Once you've fallen off the mountain, it's a long way to climb back up, and you got your addictions all back again. And so you're like, you know what? I'm just, I'm going to live life. I'm going to live life. And that's what your mind tells you. And then you're not feeling as good as you were just 2 months ago when you're living the keto life. So it's a very slippery slope. I never want to go down that slippery slope ever again.
Now that cheat thing, if you plan it and you do it the right way, then it can be a little fun too. I don't want to say that cheating's a good thing, but Pam and I found that we can make things like brownies and cookies that are keto.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we use the almond flour, and we use the sweetener, and a couple other ingredients, and maybe we might sneak a few little dark chocolate chips in there,
They're fine. Yeah, dark chocolate's fine. I mean, you can get the Lily's dark chocolate, which is
that's what we get.
Yeah, Lily, perfect. Yeah, it's perfect. But what Peggy and I have found out, and I think Brian too, is that when we start to incorporate those things back, because Peggy, and you've tasted a lot of like her brownies, her blondies, and pecan bars. She makes a lot that are all keto friendly. And we definitely made a lot more of those in the early start of going keto. We just don't have it that often. We may make them now, like if we're going to a function like for Thanksgiving or Christmas or a party, just so we know we got an alternative to eat that we can eat and share. But the reality of it is we just don't crave it. And then the other part of the equation, and Peggy, I think talked about this last week. She finally had to eliminate Starbucks cream and Starbucks coffee from her from consuming that, and I think I have too. I've been trying to find out what's been troubling me, and I think there's something different about the whipping cream they use at Starbucks, or something in their coffee that's causing me to be inflamed. So I actually this week I had to say, all right, I'm done. I'm going to have to walk away with that. And I took up a new morning drink called Mud, and it's keto, and it is awesome.
Well, I'll have to find out about that. And if you knew how hungry I am for ice cream right now after listening to that.
Brian's teasing you with what he's got in the freezer.
Yeah.
He'll go pull it out in a second and eat it right in front of us here in a second.
Oh, no.
I'm already in my fasting mode, so I'm safe.
That's so good, though.
So, well, that's awesome. Now is Pam doing keto with you, or is she just dabbing or putting her toe in the shallow in the pool?
Yes, she is kind of doing it with me, but I don't think that she sticks to it quite as well as I do, and I could do better myself too. There's some improvements I could make, and I'll try to as I go along. But I consider myself, I'm still a beginner. I've only been at this since February. So, by the way, then from 238 pounds then to 198 now, you can imagine how much different I feel. I feel a lot different, a lot better.
That's awesome. I'm like Brian. I can't wait to see how your doctor responds to the weight loss and with your visit with him. So you'll have to let us know how your visit goes.
Yeah, I certainly will. So, hey, I don't know how long you want me to stay, but there's a couple things I do.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. No, if you got to run, you got to run. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing what you shared with us. So if you got to run, Gary, thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to have you on and share your story.
Well, I sure appreciate it.
All right. Well, tell Pam we said hello and have a great evening, and I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, if it wasn't for you doing this keto and me finding out about that, I wouldn't have gone down that road. So like I said, you're my inspiration. I've told you that before.
Yeah, and your story is going to be an inspiration to many others. So that's
Right.
the whole purpose and the mission of this show is to keep inspiring other people. So once you catch fire, then go ahead and spread that fire to some other folks. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Brian.
Yeah, you too.
All
All
right.
right, take care, Gary.
Bye.
Yeah, I was trying to find a picture of that ice cream. I only have it in the video, so it's a little blurry because it was moving, but I don't know if you can see this.
Oh my gosh, that looks like true soft serve from like Dairy Queen or something.
Yeah, well, it's soft when you first pull it out of the ice cream maker. So, then I packed it in these little containers and put it in the freezer. But I made a little bowl for myself to eat it while it was still soft. And man,
I guess I saw Emily post that she posted a thing of ice cream. I guess it's the same recipe that you posted, or it was the cappuccino ice cream she posted today, and that looked good. That's what I was like, wow. Like,
yeah,
oh
that was the first time I tried to make it. I posted the recipe, but since then I've refined it. So now she's gonna have to get this new recipe. It's a little more involved though because you have to heat it up and make that custard base, but man, that's the secret.
Well, you're gonna have to send me the recipe you have, because I'm gonna make it tomorrow or Friday. So you send it to me. I'm gonna make it tomorrow or Friday, one of those days, because it sounds delicious. And that's one of the things I do miss is having ice cream during the summer. I drive by all the local. We have a thing called Moo Through here. That's like literally sometimes the traffic on Route 29 is backed up a mile long because people are in line around the drive-through to get Moo Through ice cream. That's how good their ice cream is. And we have a couple places. Klein's was one, and another one in Fredericksburg. And I missed that. I drive by and I see all those people, and I'm like, but I go, look at all those people buying poison. Look at all those people buying poison. But the reality of it is, there's something that is nice to have ice cream in the summertime. It's just refreshing. So,
well, if you can make it without the bad ingredients, then it's good.
Well, that's what I'm looking forward to do, especially since you found the ultimate recipe, or created the ultimate recipe that's good. It blends my coffee. I just have to figure out. I don't have any fresh ground coffee that I could do, so I may have to substitute something else in place of that. I can go with the chocolate though. I'll go with the cocoa. That I could do.
Yeah. What kind of coffee maker you use?
I actually just use I use instant. I use instant coffee. I cold brew. I was cold brewing. I literally just do cold brew. It takes about 24 hours. I just let it sit in a big
you could use that. You could use that for ice cream.
Could I use that?
That's basically what I did. I just put I ground the grounds, put them in water with the cocoa, and let them soak overnight. So it basically made the cold brew, but I left the grounds in. But if you have instant, it'll still be the same thing without the ground.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't make the iced coffee that I actually, or Peggy makes, I should say, because that's the one thing that she makes for me. But it soaks, and then we throw it in, and we screen it in a cheesecloth and drain the
grind.
That part I do too.
Yeah, so, a lot of the coffee recipes online say to do that, to separate, through the cheesecloth thing. But I like the grounds in the coffee and the ice cream.
Okay.
It adds like this extra thing to it.
Well, I'm send me the recipe if you would, please. I'm definitely going to make it, and then I'll post your video. I'll post your video and the link on this video so people can click on it and see how to make it and see that video as well. So,
yeah, I'm getting back up. I was going to say I'm getting back up. I've got the ice cream one I finished this evening, and then I have yesterday's with that the stuffed salmon one. I think that's the one I did. Yeah, it's the salmon with the crab meat in it.
Well, I saw you do the crab, and there was some other fish you were having. I forget. It wasn't salmon. It was walleye.
Oh, that was the first batch of crab cakes, and that was the canned crab. Then I went back to the store and found the fresh container. It has the big lumps of crab meat, and so that's what I used for my stuffed salmon recipe, and that was what was left over tonight that I made those crab cakes with. So I've been on a crab kick this week.
Yeah, I've been on a seafood. I had crabs and shrimp and oysters, and I got scallops that I was going to have today, but I'll eat those tomorrow. But I've been on a seafood kick for whatever reason.
Yeah,
lately.
I just got an email. I'm on like Traeger's email list now, so they send me every time there's some new recipe. They just sent one out, smoked scallops. So I might have to try that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that then, because I haven't cooked them yet. So maybe I'll try. That recipe then.
Yeah, it looked pretty easy. You just stick them on I guess you like a cookie sheet, but with a grate, so they're not sitting flat; they're sitting up.
Right.
And you just smoke them at 165, which is the lowest temperature you can go. Like this, you just smoke them for like 20 minutes, I think. I mean, I didn't look at the whole, like, they make it some kind of glaze to put on and all this junk, but the basic smoking of it is just like 20 minutes in the smoker at a low temperature.
That sounds like something I'll be doing tomorrow then. So,
yeah, my next batch of scallops, I'm definitely going to try that.
Awesome. Well, it's that time again to wrap up another episode and let you guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening, everybody. And please get the word out that there is some place you can go, a community you can join that has nothing but your best interest at heart. And we're all rooting for you. And so you got any closing comments, Brian?
No, I'm stuffed. I ate too much of that ice cream. But anyway, yeah, it was really cool to hear your friend's story. It's always cool to hear people's stories, you know.
Yeah,
they're all like a little bit different in different ways, you know.
Yeah, what the part I love about it is, regardless of where you come from, and we all come from our bad habits or habits that we end up realizing that they're bad. But it's always amazing. The part that I love, and I hope it's encouraging somebody who's watching this time, is the fact that once you're able to break free from the sugar addiction, the whole world opens up for you. You're no longer a slave to that drug, and it is a drug. That sugar is a drug, and once you get it out of your system, you'll be surprised at how better off you're going to be as far as thinking, energy, clarity. There's just so many things, not to mention the health benefits of not inflaming your body and constantly being on that roller coaster. I mean, there's just so many great life benefits. And I think if you have any doubt that that's going to be the case, truly just get with somebody, send us an email, get an accountability partner, and just, do it for 3 days. And if you can do it for 3 days, you can do it for 30 days.
Right.
So, well, awesome. Well, listen, everybody have a great week. Brian, have a great week. I will talk to you later on. And for everybody else out there, stay out of the hospital. And remember, if you're a true friend, you'll share your meat with someone. So have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Friday.